I would say let's properly check in. So what we're going to do is maybe you share once more your name, and I would very much like to know what you're most looking forward in these next 1.5 hours that we're going to spend with each other. And I'll kick it off. I'll have my little talking stick, and I'll give the talking stick then to one of you. And when you've finished, please give it further to someone else in the call. So my name is Vera, and what I'm most looking forward to is to share the power that comes with intentionally asking questions and knowing how to make them powerful, and also to learn from you, because I think I'm going to learn from you as well. That's what I'm most looking forward to in these 1.5 hours. And with that, I would like to give the talking stick to Antje.
Thank you, Vera. Well, my name is Antje. I'm living in Holland, in Utrecht. And I'm looking most forward to, well, as you said, to learn from all of you and to get inspired and to get some positive energy, and especially to learn about powerful questions. And I think also to have that powerful mindset, because with a powerful mindset, you get the right question. So I hope to get inspired tonight. Thank you. I'll give the stick to Dieter.
Thank you. So my name is Dieter. I am German who a year ago arrived from China in Switzerland. And I'm here to network, to be in an environment of people I can trust, to talk about things that are close to my heart. And I'm already sure I found it. So already check. I'm already happy. And I want to give the talking stick to Ursula.
Yes, hi, I'm Ursula. I'm living in the northern part of the Netherlands, in Groningen, near to the Waddenzee. So I'm in the space. I'm living in the space. Yeah, tonight, truly, I don't know. I'm very surprised, and we will see. And powerful questions are always good to learn and how to use. So let's see what is going on tonight. And I will give, we have Claudia.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm excited to being here. I think I signed up to the class like 2 days ago, so I did not look at anything yet. So I'm new to whatever we will speak about. On the other hand, bringing in a lot of other experiences, and that's why I'm here. I think it's, instead of giving workshops myself on Thursday evenings, I wanted to be participant and to receive, and also to add some new questions, because it's like recipes, I'm cooking the same things all the time. I'm using the same questions more or less all the time. So adding some new questions to my whatever portfolio would be really fantastic. So I think that's what made me come. And I'm not sure if I have 1.5 hours or only 1 hour. I'm still waiting for a confirmation, because everything was a little bit short notice. But well, here we are. And I pass it on to Nicole. I think we are like coming from the furthest end.
Thank you. Hi, yes, I'm Nicole. Similarly to some of the sentiments that have already been spoken, I am here to learn. I think I gain a lot of energy discussing, anything appreciative, and I could use a little bit of energy right now as we head into the holidays and the new year. I just think it's so well timed. So I look forward to being here with you all and gaining some energy. I'm going to pass it on to you, Yoop. Good to see you.
Need to unmute first. I'm Yoop de Jong. I may be here from a slightly different perspective. I didn't know who would show up, and now when I see all of you, my objective changed. It's a bit like a recipe, I guess, what you said, Claudia. I just made tonight for the first time a Moroccan meal for myself. I had never done that before, and I just had some ingredients, and I cooked up something completely different from anything else I'd ever done. So there's no repetition here, and I guess that was also kind of unexpected, and seeing all of you here, which is actually wonderful. My objective changed to that I hope to hear in your voices, and when I see you, how you are actually doing. I don't know, we don't have the time for that, but I guess the way you ask questions, or we ask questions to each other, simply how you're doing. And I'll try to throw in some positive questions on that in that process. Having said that, Gwendol, I'm handing the talking stick to you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Joep. It's so nice to be here. I also just bought the course yesterday, and I didn't even know about tonight, but I'm very happy I have this evening. And why I'm participating, I am working with Vera in a mastermind, and of course we've been learning about each other, how we work and each other's knowledge, and I get to know Vera as a very, very good professional and very wise. So I want to learn. So of course I subscribed. And so I'm very curious, and I think also in these times, not only asking the right questions to others, but also to ourselves is very, very necessary to stay like in a time which is changing so fast. Important also to ask ourselves the questions, and maybe making a small bridge to what Joep said. On this particular moment, I don't feel so well because I lost my father-in-law, and I'm working at home, and I have 2 small kids at home, so it's all the time like a lot of going on. So I am very aware of. I ask myself the question: what do I need to get back into my high energy, to be happy, to be relaxed, and what's very important for me is to be inspired, to surround myself with people who inspire me to have really heart-to-heart conversations. So these are my lifelines. So I'm very happy to be here and to meet all of you.
Thank you. I think that was already, at least for me, how I feel, that was already quite a rich start that kind of puts on a lot of depth already, at least how I feel. So thank you for that. Thank you for opening this so wonderfully. I think we'll continue right on. I'm just going to share what we are going to discover tonight. And I'm actually going to switch to this one. No, I'm going to switch to this one. So what we're going to do is, can you see all the screen? Thumbs up if you can see the screen. Okay, good. So what we are going to do is, I actually want to go into present. We did the check-in already. We are going to start in a moment, if this all works with the technique. Yes, it should. We are going to share and discover in breakout groups about experiences that we had ourselves with transformative questions already, and that can be within or outside of the course. And then we'll already figure out, oh, okay, so what are the kind of key ingredients that we can feel already? And I'll add a few things that I think are very important or are helpful to know about when we want to intentionally formulate powerful transformational questions. And I think after that, there is still some time to ask questions, regarding the course. For those of you who have already kind of done it, maybe there are some open questions that you want to figure out together here in that space. And otherwise, there might be other questions, and I'm going to share a little bit about other things that I'm doing right now. And that might be interesting in that regard. And then there will be, then the 1.5 hours, or now only 1.25 hours, are going to be done, and we will check out again. So let's go into breakout groups, basically. So what I'm inviting you is I'm going to put you in breakout groups of, how many people are we? We are 8 people. So I think we're going to make breakout groups of 2 and 3. And I invite you to each one of you share about an aha moment that you had in the course or outside of the course, where you realize that something that you've perceived before as a given suddenly could start moving again. So something that you had been taken as a fixed thing, as a reality, suddenly became discussable. And in that regard, I also want to invite you to think about, what was this question? Was there a question? And what was this question that kind of made you shift the perspective? And maybe also, if you still remember, what was the perspective that shifted? What was the newly gained insight that you had with regards to that question? And now if I'm going to, does that work? Because I actually want to put that, if I'm going to escape here, because I actually want to put it into the, this is working fantastically, I can see. I actually want to put it into the chat as well, so you can take it into the breakout groups. But maybe I'm just going to stop the screen sharing right now and put you into breakout groups, and then I'm going to send it into the chat as well. Is the assignment kind of clear to you, or are there any kind of questions with regards to what we are going to do in the breakout groups? Good? Okay. So I'm going to create breakout groups of automatic sheets, and I want to have sorry, my bad. That is not how you should handle it. But we are going to be there in a second. And here we go. I wish you lots of fun, and I'm going to send you the questions again into the breakout groups, and you have 15 minutes time. So each one of you has 5 minutes to share, and the other one is invited to listen carefully and to maybe ask also questions, but take 5 minutes minimum each. Have fun.
You triggered me in one of the courses, and I don't remember what the question was, but you made a kind of a statement about success stories, and of course I already know that success stories are helpful, and it's good to look at what is and what is going well. But then you also said a lot of people analyze what doesn't work very good and think about what is constraining. And then I was like, that hit me, because that's what I tend to do. I look at what is not working. I'm looking at what is not going well, what is constraining, what would help to fix the constraints. And I also know that it's good to have success stories and show the places where things work well. So then that was a very big aha moment. And I'm not sure how to incorporate it from now on, but I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try to stop and look at what is not working and what is constraining and analyzing, because I already talked in the breakout group, that costs a lot of energy, and a lot of times you don't have influence on that what is constraining, a lot of times, unless you're director or something like that, but I'm not that. So that was a very big aha moment for me in the course.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing. Someone else who feels like sharing. No?
Ja, daar ben ik.
Ja, Ursula.
Okay, I try in English.
And if not, go in Dutch and we'll translate. That's good. Like,
yeah, okay. Yeah. In Dutch?
However, what feels more comfortable for you?
Nou, let's try. For me, was it the moment Vera and I worked together in our last online Zoom meeting with different kind of participants. And I felt, I told her I felt losing energy from the people who joined the meeting. And Vera told me if you felt to lose the energy, then you have to ask from your experience, from your feeling, if this is true. And so I have to do it from out my feeling to say, from, it's very nice to be together here, but I think for me it's so far away everything, and we really lose energy, or is everything okay for you? So, and the people said, no, we are very fine and it's okay and perfect. And so it was only something from me, and Farah gave me the hint to do the of to give of to no, sorry, to ask them if this is right, what I feel, but it's not my feeling. It was not their feeling, but only my feeling. So, and then it's starting to think one, okay, and how can I ask it in the right way, and how can I live this in the right way, so that not I have to think I have to be perfect. No, you don't have to be perfect, but let's do it together. So that was very interesting. Thank you. And this was for my the aha and the change.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that as well. That was kind of double checking, right? It's like letting actually giving the group the power and also the allowance to mirror back. Am I getting it right? So yeah, that was that was beautiful indeed. I think there was so what I've been hearing, and I kind of take that as a moment to kind of take all the wisdom that you've been sharing already, and to kind of gather the key ingredients and kind of lead us to the next moment in this workshop about, and we are going to look at the key ingredients that I came up with, which I think you brought even more in. So you will not recognize all the wisdom that you've been sharing here right now in what I'm going to share later. So what I've been hearing from you was, so there's this thing that it basically starts with the connection with each other and myself. So it's the sincere, whatever I'm going to start, whatever question I'm going to ask actually starts with a connection. You could say kind of vertical and horizontal between me and the other. And from there, we are going to move forward to whatever direction. But it starts with this here and now and our connection and my connection with myself. I found it very beautiful. There was this curiosity also, like open, like where am I and where are you? That I found quite beautiful as well. It was also about what I think Claudia was sharing, that the answer can, the question can already contain all the richness that the answer is. So the question can actually contain all the answers already. That was the story from Claudia and Dieter, which reminded me also about the kind of the containing of the wholeness principle a little bit. So considering all the elements in the system that need to be considered in whatever we want to change, whatever is the question going to be about. And by that, actually creating a frame as well. And we'll probably find a few back in what I'm going to share now. And now I'm going to share my screen again. I changed it, so now it should work better. Here we go. Can you see the screen? Up? Yeah, okay. So let's look at the key ingredients, what I think make a powerful question, because I think we all know how to ask a question, right? We just put kind of the words in a certain order and make a question mark behind, but that doesn't mean that it becomes a really powerful question with which we can actually lead ourselves, but also other people. And I think questions are actually very powerful in the sense that they initiate change. And when we initiate change, that's basically what I think is at least one important aspect of leadership. So I would start with the careful framing. So framing for me is about setting the stage. it starts thus already before you are going to ask the question. And I'm now thinking here, when we are talking about setting the stage, I'm thinking about something that you really do as a facilitator at work, for example. So in setting the stage and creating the frame, it's not about only that you think about the topic, what's the topic that we are going to have it about, but what is actually helping us, helping me as the one who's asking the question, but also the people whom I'm going to address, to create, actually co-create an inviting, safe atmosphere. Because there we are again with the sincere interest and curiosity. This is what is going to help us open up. If I don't create this safe and inviting environment for the people that I want to take with me through a change process, whatever that looks like, then I'm probably going to face resistance right up front before I'm even going to start. So if it's about, if you're thinking about, like, sometimes we're in a conversation like this, then of course we're not going to write an intro text, but let's assume here that you're about to set up a workshop, or you're about to create a proposal, or you're in a change project or whatever, then I would say setting the stage and creating the frame happens with an intro text. An intro text that says, okay, this is what we're going to have it about. So to be really clear about what's the topic that we're talking about and what are we going to focus on. And to give, because sometimes even if we think one word and one topic is clear, there might be different definitions of what the topic actually is. So let's talk about what—
I'm in a class. What's up? All right. Oh, I'm—
Oops. Did you hear that as well? Yeah. I don't know what that was. Anyway, it's all very interesting tonight, technically.
that was me. I'm sorry, Vera.
Okay, Nicole.
12-year-old who needed help. I'm so sorry.
That's all good. That's real life. We're here in a Zoom call. We're at home in Corona, so I guess that's what's happening. Kids are showing up. The internet connection is breaking. I guess that's real life right now. So back to the topic. Okay, so we said, like, not everyone might understand the word, which is the topic actually about, in the same way. So let's, for example, take, we're talking about safety, yeah? And some people might think safety is about putting kind of warning signs on the street to say, like, here is whatever, a construction going on. That's for them safety. For others, it's psychological safety. For the next one, it's whatever, you know? So there are different aspects. So it's helpful if you, by creating kind of the sphere, you're making sure that we are talking about the same thing, which can happen through giving examples of what you're talking about. And in that is kind of I think you don't always have to do that, but maybe you can already say, like, what am I aiming for? So what are we talking here about? What is it kind of, what is a possible outcome that I could think of, but that's just helping us to get into the mode. And this all reminded me a little bit of the simultaneity principle that you actually use at Synchronicity. But I think that's kind of what this is about. So the simultaneity principle, for you who have maybe not kind of started with the course yet, this is the principle that says the moment we ask a question, we already initiate change. I would even say the moment we think about asking the question, the moment we set the stage for asking the question, already defines a little bit the outcome. In that sense, the questions that we ask and the introduction that we give, the setting of the stage, is already fateful for the success and the outcome of the change project, whatever it looks like. What else? So we've now set the stage. We are very clear about what we are aiming for. We've given people a kind of okay, this is the framework in which we are going to play. Now it's about inviting not only the head, but inviting actually the whole system. We very, very often, because I think most of the workplaces in which we are going on, inviting us to come from the head And that's all good and that's all beautiful, but this is not where people are inspired to move. And if you want people to change, you need to address not only the head, but actually the heart, the whole system. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that when you include everything that triggers the senses, that triggers emotions, that makes it a whole body and soul experience. How you can do that is by using visuals, actually not only in your question, but also asking people about, how does it look like when you do that? How does it feel like when you do that? What's the image that you're thinking about in the future? How is that going to be when we've been successful in whatever change we wanted to achieve? And by that, including all feelings, images, and senses, because this is how we actually already get into the anticipation mode. Oh, okay, so this is how it's going to feel. So this is going to be also a kind of feeling like, when I get that feeling that I have with this question created within myself and in the people around me, that's going to be one sign of possible success. So how are you going to measure the success? Maybe also by finding back that feeling in reality that you've been already creating in asking the questions. And that's what actually basically the anticipatory principle says as well. Images inspire actions. So the idea that I kind of keep in mind, this is how it feels, this is how it looks like, and that's going to help us move into that direction. That's basically what the anticipatory principle says about. So the richer the image, the more powerful the effect that you're going to create. Something which is now turning completely our kind of using our head, using our brain, using the mind kind of, but because that's important as well, we want to invite the whole system, but it's also about the architecture of our question. And sometimes we underestimate the importance of a solid structure. So I've been, you actually can see here also on the right-hand side, that's a page out of the book of Diana Whitney and a few female colleagues of her, Thriving Women, Thriving World. And I think you can see very clearly the architecture. So there's the intro text that we've been talking about. Here she describes about what is it that we're going to have it about. What are the different kind of aspects that we need to consider, or that we can consider when thinking about designing conditions for thriving. That's a topic. And then she has 3 questions. And again, sub-questions to that. And why is she doing that? That is because sometimes one question that we are asking might not reach everyone who is in the change process. We need sometimes, when we are working with groups, different angles from which we are going to invite people to join in. So if we are only going to ask one question, there might be 1 or 2 people who feel completely ignited and say, like, yes, I can answer to that. But there might also be others who are thinking like, what is she talking about? So if we are creating sub-questions to the main questions that we are having, we increase the chance to get everyone on the boat. And we also, by, for example, talking about past, future, and the present, so that's kind of another thing about appreciative inquiry. So it's this discovery, dream, and design and delivery mode. So including different tenses. So what are success stories that we know from the past, from which we can draw the wisdom, including the future. What is the dream, where we want to go? So we go back to the anticipatory principle. So what is the future going to feel like, look like? What are the indications that we've been successful in the future, and what do we now do? What do we need to do now? So what makes it kind of really concrete that we are in the here and now and can take actions? So that belongs also to a really good success story. And I think what she's doing here, she's also in this first part. I'm going to read it out loud. Maybe you can hardly see it. Think about the places where you spend your time at work or in leisure. So there she's asking for experiences that we had in the past. And here, describe an exemplary organization with optimal conditions and what makes it exemplary. So there she kind of talks about the future, a possible future aspect. So she as well includes in these different sub-questions, she includes the different time frames. And what also can help is playing between what we've been doing also in the breakout group, the personal experience, because this is where you invite people to get in, but also to play with the shared understanding. So playing between the individual and the collective experience in these questions. And that is a little bit what I think the Portic principle is also about. We can look from different angles on different things. And also if we look from today and maybe we ask the same question tomorrow, there are going to be different things that we are going to find out, because it's not a fixed reality, but the reality is unfolding. And every time we ask a question or we repeat the question, we are going to find different aspects of the answer and of the truth, whatever that is. Okay, we have two more things to go. How is everyone going? Is there some kind of, was that already a lot, or are you good? Can we kind of proceed with the two other things that are coming up, two other key elements?
I was just typing a message to say goodbye to everyone, because I need to leave now. But now, since you asked, I also could open the mic, but I will send the message anyway. I'm looking forward to seeing the recording, and very inspiring. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, and have a very lovely call.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So
we got the presentation from you, so we don't have to write everything.
I can share the presentation with you. Yeah, definitely.
Good. It would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Happy to do that. And also the recordings. I hit the keep on recording button a little bit later than we jumped in after you came up from the breakout session. So there's a tiny bit missing, but now it's recording as well. So if you feel like that, I can also share that with you. Good. Okay, ready to go on with the last two things? Good. So one other thing that I think is very, very important, because what you've been already, what I think in the past three key elements that I've been sharing with you became clear is that there's a lot to learn about asking questions and a lot to think about if we want to be powerful in the questions. But if we consider all of these things, we are actually very powerful in the questions we ask. So I think it's important to acknowledge that and to be crystal clear in the intention that we have when we create the change in the world or within ourselves. So I would say before you start with any change initiative, make sure that you have your attention and your purpose crystal clear. Because also when I think when we are setting a certain stage and a certain framework, but then we're not clear about the intention of what we actually want to do, and then the questions that are coming after the intro text are not related to the intro text, we're confusing people and we actually lose them. So I guess the first and foremost thing before actually, or with aligning yourself and the sincere curiosity that you are having towards yourself and towards others, it also is kind of key to become clear what is the intention with which I start this conversation. And especially if the project that you are initiating is not only one that is kind of for today or for today and tomorrow, but is actually one which goes over a longer period, is to check regularly with everyone involved, also the different parts of yourself, your head, your heart, your soul, whatever, maybe the different archetypes that play a role, like I want to be this success, we talked about successful, I want to be the successful man or successful woman, but I also want to be this good human being, whatever, So there might be different parts with us where sometimes the intention becomes unclear as well. So I think it's helpful if we check in regularly, are we still aligned with the purpose? Everyone involved, every part of myself. And if it's not aligned, that's not going to be the end of the world, but then you know what you have to do, because then the first thing what you should do is getting aligned again with the purpose, because that's what makes it actually powerful as well. Which reminded me of the positive principle of appreciative inquiry, which says positive questions lead to positive change. If you're not kind of clear and positive about things, don't expect that the change that you're going to initiate is going to be automatically positive as well. So the intention with which you go into that, the purpose that is guiding us, is going to have an effect on the outcome of the whole procedure. Which altogether, I think, leads us to, last but not least, something that I've been already starting to talk about with the intention part. Knowing about these different ingredients and putting them together in a question and in a change project. If we do that well, we're incredibly powerful. Of course, other people in this process are powerful as well, but the words that we use, especially when we are clear on our intention, whether the intention is good or bad, are powerful. That's basically also what the constructionist principle says. Words create worlds. So the words that we are using have an effect, and the words that other people are using have an effect on our outside world. And with that, I think, goes a certain sense of responsibility. These things that I've been sharing with you right now make you a perfect manipulator. They really do. And that per se is not a bad thing if we have a kind of good, and whatever that means, good intention behind that, then we can use it to create positive change in the world. However, if we use it only for our own sake and for our own success, or whatever that means, then it has not only a positive effect on the world, but also actually can have a destructive effect. So there is my plea to align the words and images that you use with your positive intention, to take ownership and responsibility for the momentum that you create. Oh, Menno. All right, there's someone coming in, someone new. Hello, Menno. Not here yet. Hello, Menno.
Annette.
Annette. Ah, okay. We are right in discovering the key elements. I'll just continue, if that's okay.
Yes. Sorry, yeah. I disturb you.
Oh, good. So I said it's with knowing about all these different key elements that belong to a question, we have power, and we should know about it and use it purposeful. That's basically what I'm saying with this last part. And with that, I think we're already in this very last part, which is, do you have any unanswered questions that you carry with you from the course, or maybe also from what I've been sharing here in this workshop right now, that you would like to bring into the group and discuss and get clarity around?
Yeah, I'm not sure what question to ask, but when I was talking to Gwendol and Ursula, I told them that I got to know appreciative inquiry like six years ago, and I learned it as a method, and I saw it in a little conversation between Joep and you on one of the courses, because you said, well, AI is a method and it's a way of being, and well, at first I tried to use it as a method, because you have the 5 Ds, the 5 steps. You start with a positive theme, and then you are starting to dream. That's what you told me. Find a good image and a perspective in the future. But when I'm using it as a method, I kind of get lost in the process, because then I'm talking about structuring a process, and am I at the right step? So I'm looking for a way of being, or just to find a way to I'm not sure if I'm very clear, but I'm thinking out loud. But I'm looking for a way to intervene just with the right question. So, you know, if there's a key question or just a question to start anything, I'm just looking for questions, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. 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 What is coming up when I'm listening to you is I think I understand, and I invite also other. There are quite some pros here in the call about appreciative inquiry. So please join into the conversation if you feel that you have something to add. But so what is coming to my mind when I'm listening to you, I think I do understand that you are looking for questions and for something kind of like handvatten. So
Yeah.
things that help you to get into the thing and to kind of solve it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say that still reminds me of the, so there's, we sometimes play with this. Okay, so there's appreciative inquiry can be a tool. It can be an approach or a method, and it can be a way of being. And this asking for questions very much goes to the tool, which is valid, which is good, you know, you can use it, but I'm not sure whether this is the most powerful way of how you can use appreciative inquiry. It is a very practical one, but I'm also, if we go back to what we've been finding out in this call right now, and if when I go back to what Joep has been sharing about the conversation with Nicole, it starts with the curiosity about me, and it starts with the curiosity about the other person. And what I think is, and maybe I'm projecting here stuff. If I do, my apologies. But it's when we start using it as a tool, when I'm kind of going to, oh, I want to have that question, and with that question, I'm going to kind of run the show. We step away from what it takes to be vulnerable. So I guess we become the most powerful if we have the courage to step in and be really curious. Because that's the invite as well to the others in the room, if we can set the stage accordingly, and if other people are not going to sabotage it. That can always happen. That goes with the vulnerability and the courage and this risk that we are taking with that. But if we open this thing up with our own curiosity, vulnerability, openness, that's the invite for other people to do the same. And that's when it becomes transformative. If we only look for the questions and some tools, we stay on the surface very often. And still, I think I don't, like saying that, I can't, what I learned about, like how I learned about questions and kind of how you can build questions in a powerful way. There are books. So, I mean, you don't have to only go the hard way, but they are really good books in the sense of the one that I was also talking about earlier, like this Women Thriving World. I show it to you. It's a book full of, it's only questions, basically. It's questions and stories, and that's it. So if you, with the PowerPoint, or not PowerPoint, but the précis that I'm going to share, you go through that book, you will understand the architecture of the questions, and then you can write them yourself. So you can do that, but I kind of want to kind of warn you a little bit that if you're going to do it in a technical way, people will answer technically as well. Is there something else that other AI wisdom keepers want to add?
May I?
Of course.
I guess, Ankia, so building on what Vera's been saying, you can look at the questions from different levels, and I'll get to that in a second. But when you do appreciative inquiry, the one common thing is always the intent to learn about the other. So there's the curiosity. Now, if you look at the 4 or 5 Ds, you are indeed, I would say, in the head, and you look at the questions from a very structured perspective. So you have an introduction, you have a question about the past, you have a question about your values, you have a question about your wishes. And what you do is you really basically look at how to word that in a positive way. So you try to avoid the words like no and a problem, and so that's the technical part. When you go one layer deeper, which is primarily when you look at appreciative inquiry and the questions from the principles, um, then then you are really talking about, I would say, what is the intent. And when you take the social constructionist principle, you are aware that whatever answer comes is okay. It's not about the answer that you expect, but it's really trying to embrace whatever answer comes. What Vera said earlier, when you take the anticipatory principle, I mean, your own expectations create an image. And so it's really very carefully wording and leaving the space for the other. It's not about what you think you want to find. And I guess the one thing I want to add, but that's maybe, I don't know whether that's a little bit out of the realm that we do now, but if you want to understand to be and then becoming AI, it is really being able to be in silence and let the questions emerge. I don't think you need to have a clear purpose in mind in terms of the future. What you need to do is to be silent enough to hear whatever answer emerges or question emerges in you. Because that's really what it's about being. So then there is not a clear objective in the sense of what you want to achieve, but you really want to hear and listen to what is emerging. And I dare say, indeed, I dare to make the case that that happens in silence. We recently, or recently it's in October, when there was the AI worldwide gathering. We practiced with just being silent, and then checked later on what is it that emerged for you. So you can distinguish those levels like you did rightfully, and what Vera has been doing as well is you can have this traditional structured approach, and if we want to say that's the head, then you really look at what are the words that you use, how do you introduce it, what's the structure. You have one question about storytelling in the past, you have one on your values and one on the future. When it comes to the principles, you're already moving away from that very strict structure, and you start to, you could say, listen to the heart, and you use the principles, and whatever that then emerges is okay. When that's what I really liked. Vera said some people finish the course. Well, I did finish it last night. So I mean, and I think it's a wonderful way that she added, even for a veteran like myself in AI, new dimensions. It really helped me look at the principles from another perspective, like going around them and looking at a new facet. But then that's really the already, it becomes the intent of the principle that's behind asking a question, and the structure becomes more loosely. And I dare say that when you want to be and want to learn what it means to being AI, primarily you have to learn to sit in silence with yourself and to be able to sit in silence with another, and then see whatever emerges is fine. With that, I rest my case.
Thank you, Vera and Joep. You helped me. I would have asked the question differently now. So the question was not what question do I ask, but more how do I get to the question? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any more
and maybe
questions?
in adding to that, what Vera showed, there is a great book by Jackie Stavros and Cherry Torres. It's about conversations worth having. And there they talk very much from the principal perspective. And there are one or two books, particularly from the AI community, that have appreciative questions. I think one of the books is actually that term, and it has questions then really from the head on almost every topic that you can think of: teams, relationships, work, you name it. And there are questions sort of, but I'm very doubtful how valuable that is. Although the book Conversations Worth Having is a good book, I think.
Any more questions that emerged right now or during the course or about AI in general that you would like to get addressed? No? Okay. Then I'm going to bring in here a little advertisement block, which is partially with real curiosity about possible interest that you might have. So I'm curious about what is your interest. And partially it's just about saying something which is running and which is going to open up in one or two, no, in a few weeks or in a month. So I'm thinking about, this course has been very much about the classic principles of appreciative inquiry. But of course, you've been naming that already, Antje. There's something else to it, and that is this process. It's the 4D or 5D cycle, which is also about appreciative inquiry and which helps sometimes to give ourselves structures in the way how we apply it in the workspace to create change where we are or where we want to see it. And I very much, I've been also diving into different areas of storytelling. So I've been reading a few books on that. I've been also coming along several times about the work of Joseph Campbell, who was, I think, an anthropologist, if I'm getting it right. And he was actually analyzing the stories that indigenous people and also other traditions told and seeing like what is the structure behind it. And he came out with something which is called the monomyth or the hero's journey. So something, a kind of a structure that comes back in nearly every story that we tell, whether it's Snow White or whether it's I don't know, Sleeping Beauty or whatever. It's always about the journey of a hero. And I was thinking that it would be actually nice to understand these two kind of elements, the 4D cycle or 5D cycle with the hero's journey of Joseph Campbell, and to actually create an online course about that, which helps you to bring storytelling into the workflow and bring and kind of get people involved into their personal hero's journey, whether it's for a team or for an individual at work that you are coaching or that you're working with. So I am going to put here into, if it's now going to work with the chat, I'm going to put in here a Google form into the chat, which is very much about, are you interested? And if yes, what is specifically interesting for you? And one or two other questions that I have around it. So if this is triggering you, my wholehearted invite to kind of just click yourself through the Google Forms, which should take less than 5 minutes, and to help me understand whether this is actually something that you find interesting or not. That would be very, very helpful. And then I just want to inform you that on the 14th of January, together with Joep, who is present here, we're going to have another workshop on the appreciative leadership series. So we had already one, which I found was marvelous. And we asked back then, what are the topics that you find interesting? And people said trust is something in appreciative, like the topic of trust and appreciative leadership, and also going deeper into what we've been talking already in the first evening, which was rebalancing the masculine and feminine principles that are present at work, but also always within us, being aware of that there are feminine and masculine principles that pull us towards one or the other direction and indicate different things, and that they play a role also in the work field. So if you want to learn more about that, then yeah, stay tuned, basically, that's it. And last but not least, Gwendol, who is also present here, and we are working together in the mastermind. That's basically a group of maximum 12 people who can be there in one cohort. And the cohort takes about 3 months, but it can also be longer depending on your needs. But for 3 months, we are going together on a journey, which is very much about, we want ourselves to bring a topic that each and everyone brings to the circle, to bring that further. So everyone who joins the group has a topic, him or herself, that he wants to explore with the help of the group and the wisdom that is in the group. And we are going to get along for a journey of 3 months to get ourselves, our heads and hearts around this topic, but also to help each other to create positive change in the world, to really manifest positive change in the world. And the first cohort has been running already since October, and we are going to open for the next cohort the doors at the 4th of February. So if that interests you, then also contact me. You're more than welcome, or Gwendol. And that's it. Done. Advertisement block closed. I would like to thank you very much for your curiosity, for your active participation, for the good questions you asked, for the collaboration and the feedback, and for the great evening that at least I had. And I would like to close with, if there are not any further questions that you have, open questions, because otherwise I'm going to check out in time. Question? No question? Good. Then I would like to check out, so I think that's German Pünktlichkeit again. I'm very proud of myself. With the question, what's the energy with which you're leaving and maybe going to sleep or continue your day? And I give the talking stick to Nicole.
Curiosity. I'm going about the rest of my day with some wonderful curiosity inspired by our conversations here. Thank you. Next on my screen is Dieter, if you would like to go next.
Thoughtful. The word energy doesn't fit for me, but I'm moving on, very thoughtful in what's in there for me. And I think there's a lot in there for me that I'm yet not seeing, but already feel growing in here. Antje.
Thank you. Well, I started with wanting to be inspired, and I am. So thank you all very much. And I'm eager to learn more. It's the end of the week, so my energy is quite low. I'm tired, but I feel inspired, and I'm eager to learn more about how to be AI and being AI, and so find the right questions and find positive change, especially in my self-talk, I guess, to start with self-talk. Yeah. Joep.
As I said thank you, Antje. What I said in the beginning, it was really, I was very pleasantly surprised to see some people. And then I had the gift of being in the room with Nicole and share some stories. So I guess just seeing people I care about. I know my generation still finds it a sort of challenging to say that I love, but I that made my evening, and I can those of you who are just beginning, I can highly recommend to go through the different principles. Why do I say that? As I said, I've been in this field and in this world for a long time, and I found what Vera is saying and how she looks at the principles from a, as far as I'm concerned, also a new or additional perspective, inspiring. So it's been a great session as far as I'm concerned. And with that, I give the talking stick to Ursula.
Thank you, Joep. Yes, I mean, as the last few moments, I lost my connection, so thumbs. Sorry, but I'm back again. I'm very excited about this being together, to see different kind of people and speak with new ones, and I love it. I love it very much. I thought, what are my next steps to do? And I think this is a very nice invitation to come in to IE and to learn more. So here I am. Thank you. And I give the stick to Gwendol.
And thank you, Ursula. As mentioned before, I was quite tired and I'm lying down, as you see, and I sometimes put off my camera just to close my eyes, but to hear, the conversation and the intention of the words. And what I actually noticed, what inspired me tonight so much, is that if you close your eyes and you listen to the voice of people, it's so rich and the intention is so clear. So that's what I experienced tonight. And I'm also hopeful again. Hopeful, maybe it's not the right word. Yeah, inspired and hopeful that a few things I'm dealing with at work, very complicated, stuck situations, I got a few, inspiring angles, how to try things in a different way. So on this moment, I'm very tired, but I go to bed with a really good plan for the next day. And that's how it feels. So thank you, Vera.
I think, Annette, you were the last one to share. And of course, you only stepped in a little late. I hope it was still worthwhile, the few minutes that we were in. But please.
It was definitely worthwhile. I'm sorry I checked in very late. I had a priority situation here at home with my youngest daughter. And but nevertheless, the course for me is very nourishing. And the question that Antje asked, and that both of you, Vera, and you answered, yeah, how to ask questions, that has been very much on my mind lately. And I was writing a poem about silence the other day, so I will post that for you. because it's very much about my own process now. Yesterday I did a family constellation with horses, and it was with the facilitator within complete silence, and I got such a lot of answers, just totally primordial, beyond speech answers, and they came right from the heart. And so, yeah, I'm checking out with still a feeling of fulfillment and gratitude, because I haven't been able to share with you, and I would love to, definitely. But yeah, I had to be in the right time, in the right spot somewhere else, and that's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. If that's okay with you, I would take a little screenshot of us just bidding farewell, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So if you just kind of do whatever you want to do to bid farewell, then that would be great. Bye-bye. Take good care. And have a lovely
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the call.
Thank you, Vera.
Thank you, Vera.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.